Oh my God, I'm doing my LinkedIn Live after a very long time. If anyone didn't know, I was going through like horrible vertigo and vestibular migraines, but I'm easing my way in. And I wanted to go live here and share with you about something extremely important. This is something that I've observed working with a lot of leaders in the past 5 years, and especially actually even more prominently in the last 1 year, the danger of ChatGPT. You might roll your eyes, but look, if you're happy with your role and you feel that you wake up excited in the morning, that there's no opportunity for growth for you, that, you have it and you're not bored, you don't feel like you could offer more, you're making the impact that you want to make, then keep scrolling because this isn't for you. I congratulate you. There's nothing that you need to change. But if you are a leader where you feel that even if on paper the role that you're in looks good on the outside, better than everyone else, but you have this itch that you could do more, or maybe you're a leader who is looking for another job, then this is for you. There is a danger that I have observed, and it is the Chat GPT danger. Look, I'm not trying to instill fear in people. This is something that, first of all, has been scientifically proven. There are studies that have been emerging that are showing the decline in people's cognitive skills, their ability to remember things because of ChatGPT, the decline in their ability to communicate because their over reliance on ChatGPT. And there are even emerging studies that have shown that there are high risks of dementia because in our day to day, we're not exercising our brain. And I want you to understand something. If you are not exercising your muscles, let's say physically, if you're not walking, if you're sitting all the time, if you're, always lying down in bed, wouldn't you feel weak? Wouldn't you feel like you're not able to lift things that you could have lifted before when you were exercising? Well, it is the same thing with your brain. If you're constantly relying on GPT to remember things or to frame things for you when you are in a meeting, when you want to send an email to, let's say, your senior executive leadership team, your ability to improvise is also declining. And that is dangerous. Not a lot of people can do these lives like me because they need that GPT script to do it. And that's kind of sad. So I want to tell you more about this and how that relates to you applying for jobs, searching for jobs, attracting opportunities, leadership opportunities that you want to land, and how that is standing in the way. Okay. So I offered to review 5 resumes, and there are 5 ambitious people who weren't shy who reached out to me. If you didn't reach out, hey, you missed out. Um, so I might offer this again. And if I do, I highly recommend you jump on it because I get filled up very fast. But what I observed in those 5 people who are aiming for director level, VP level roles is one, the messaging on the resume was so overly generalized and bland because it showed me that there is a deeper level problem going on. They weren't very clear on what the right role is for them. Okay. And because of that, the messaging was all over the place. Now, when they used GPT to tailor their resume and their experience to the roles that they're targeting, what GPT did was it made up stuff. It started copying language from the job posting and inserting it into the resume. So it didn't feel believable because the context was missing. And recruiters can see through that. I'm sure that you see through that. I'm sure that you can tell when someone sends you a message that has been copied and pasted from ChatGPT. Let me know if you are listening here and you agree with this. Give me a like. And if you're not currently live and you're watching the replay, then I'd love it if you give me a like if you agree with this. Okay, the second thing that I see that ChatGPT is watering down and causing folks to actually become worse communicators is overloading at times what you share, whether it's an interview or in your resume. Way too many metrics, way too many details. It creates a cognitive load on whoever is basically reading. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, but sometimes a tell for me that someone has written something with GPT is that there is a lot of fluff, unnecessary fluff, and lack of real context. So here's the thing, and this comes up a lot during my coaching sessions. I remember with one of my coaching sessions with a client who's a VP, and she's done so many things in her career. She has a PhD as well. One of the things that she was struggling was remembering what she's done. And so a lot of you, what you do is instead of confronting the problem that you're facing, which is the memory issue, you hide behind it and you use GPT to solve it. How are we solving this? If you're not giving GPT the right information. And you know what I've found is how we remember is actually not typing things. It's actually not talking to a robot. It's actually talking to a human being. Because a lot of you have done amazing things. You have amazing memories. Some of you may have suppressed them. And you need a human being with empathy to actually ask you the right questions so that you remember. Have you ever noticed that when you talk to your coworkers about what you've done in projects in the past, you remember better? Yeah, because they're human beings, not a machine, not GPT. Now, you obviously need more than your friends to get the information out. You also need a system and a framework to be able to turn it into a narrative. And this is what I work with my clients on, is we shape that narrative into a story. Another thing that I've also noticed is the imposter syndrome. And I think what is going on, and that's another danger of GPT, is it actually flares up your imposter syndrome even more than you realize. Because you know what GPT does is it starts making things up and fills skill set gaps. And then you look at it, you look at what it came up with, and you're like, that's not me. I didn't do any of these things. And then you feel even more of a fraud because of what it put together. Okay? So, how do we overcome this? How do we overcome this insanity of relying on GPT to be our brain, to not weaken our communication muscles, to be able to improvise while not making a fool of ourselves? Well, the first step, just like anything in life, you want to exercise? Well, let me tell you a story. A couple of weeks ago, some of you may know this, I have been struggling with vestibular migraines. It's a form of migraine that combines vertigo. My life was honestly horrible for like 3 months. I couldn't turn on my camera. I couldn't even do LinkedIn Lives. It was embarrassing even sometimes getting on calls with clients. I was lucky that all of my clients are understanding. They don't care if my camera is on and off because they value my brain and they know I'm a great coach. But nevertheless, it was just so hard on me. I just wanted it to go away. I wanted to do anything to make it go away. So I decided to go the pill route, and I ended up, taking medication, right? And what that did was it actually made everything worse. I started crying because it affected my mood. I started, you know, the migraines actually got worse. I became dizzy, and I learned my lesson. And I went back to what everyone's been telling me, who actually knows what they're talking about, the hard stuff, the exercise, the lifestyle changes. So it's the same thing with this. All of you want the easy fix. You want to use GPT as a crutch to be able to position yourself as a leader, to be seen as a leader, but it's more hard work to actually sit down and practice communicating, to improvise, to do the scary thing that I'm doing right now, which is put yourself in situations where you're actually improvising your communication and leaning on your own language versus some superficial language that you're borrowing from a machine. Okay, so I actually have a playbook that I want to give away. This is a gift to anyone who's listening. All you need to do is you need to comment playbook. That way I'm going to know. It's an executive presence playbook. Why am I saying comment? Well, first of all, the LinkedIn algorithm hasn't been very kind to me. So this is going to help other people see this. It's going to make my life easier. Second of all, it's going to help me track everyone's basically interest. That way I can respond to you and I can send you the playbook. And that's how we're going to do this. And then if you are interested on working on your communication, if you're really serious about it, I do work with a handful of executives on this. But let me show you a sneak peek of my playbook. I think it's very cool. I honestly worked so hard on this playbook. It is based on a consolidation of so many coaching calls and patterns that I've seen, especially lately. Okay. I want to show you some of the things that I have put together in the playbook, some of the mistakes that you might be making. Actually, this is thanks to one of my most recent clients who is a director level. We've been working on her interview stories for the past month, and we've been going line by line because this is the coach I am. I don't give people templates. I don't make them watch videos. We sit there side by side like we're movie writers, and we craft the narrative so that they can succeed. Okay? So, that's what happened is I noticed all the mistakes that she's been making. And so I packaged this up so that I can benefit more people. All right. So if you want this playbook, some of the mistakes, overloading your elevator pitch. You all know the importance of having a strong elevator pitch so that when the recruiter listens to what you're saying, they can retain what you're saying versus zone out and fall asleep. And this is the number one reason why recruiters tell you we went with another candidate, even if you're qualified. Why? Because you overloaded them with information. Another mistake is burying the business problem when you're working on a massive initiative that's multi-million or billions of dollars. If you're giving a backstory that is way too long-winded and too much context and you're not getting to the point, then what happens? You're minimizing what you've done. Have you ever heard the saying, cut to the chase? If you are presenting at the C-level, VP level, gosh, they just want you to get to the point and they want to know what's in it for the organization. Okay, I give you examples before and after. I give you the framework. I give you lots of stuff here, honestly. I should be selling this, but I'm giving it away for free. So don't sleep on this. I'm going to do this for a limited time. And the only way to get this is to comment playbook, okay? And make sure that we are first degree connections so that I can DM you. If we're not, then send me a connection request as well, and then you will get the playbook. All right. Happy Saturday. Make sure that you exercise your brain just as much as your body because, you know, dementia is not a joke. My dad actually has dementia. This is why I care so much about the topic. All right, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Please do me a favor, whether you want the playbook or not. I know you want it because it's very valuable, but whether you want it or not, if you found this valuable, it would mean a lot to me if you give this LinkedIn Live a like, just so I know who's watching. I put a lot of effort into my content, and that would mean a lot to me. Okay, have a great weekend.